Politics himself, it might seem a little arrogant for Percy to go and tell his son about the freedom rides. He did. He did. He wanted all of us to know what our history was. He wanted us to know what our culture was. And so the idea of bringing together young people on a bi-weekly basis in this Sutton Club, of all the tributes to Percy, including my own, on the day of his funeral, probably the best and most apt reference and tribute to him would be to start this organization, and Senator Hassel Thompson is the one who thought of it. And so maybe she's the new Percy Sutton. And I say that, and it's humorous, but remember, when these people that we look up to now and we tribute and we pay homage to their memory, they were just members at that time who were here in Albany. Sutton was in the Assembly until he became borough president in 1966. And he was replaced by a kind of quiet, retiring guy by the name of Charlie Wrangler in the Assembly. But these people fought against injustice, they fought against racism, and they fought against some of the great obstacles such that we could even be here with almost 40 members in the Black, Puerto Rican, and Hispanic and Asian Association now. So you couldn't have not only picked a better person to honor and set up a special event for, you couldn't have done it in a more exemplary way, one that really was his tribute. So I will end this evening by telling you how Percy Sutton talked me into running for the state senate. And it had to do with the fact that I had failed the bar exam early in 1985 by 3 points. And I never finished all the questions. And I felt that I should have been given more time to finish the exam. So I'm a pretty unhappy camper. I left the DA's office and I went to work for David Dinkins for borough president. And I'm David Dinkins' fundraiser. And I heard that a state senator, my predecessor, who was chair of the caucus at the time of his death, the late Senator Leon Bogues, had passed away. And a couple of friends of mine who I had met during that time, including the late Chuck Sutton, Percy's nephew, had suggested to me that I run for this seat. And I told them I'm too young, nobody would support me, you gotta be 50 years old to run for office around here. That's what I told him. And I said, and I want to go back and take the bar exam. So, being unable to convince me, because I liked being asked. I won't kid you, it was very flattering. I went to social occasions and I said, you know, some people approached me about running for the state. You know, I got a little leverage out of that. But the reality is that I wasn't taking it seriously. And so they went and spoke to Percy Sutton. Now, the first real sort of spiritual moment here is he's the only person that probably would have let them in the door. His nephew and 2 or 3 other people, all of them 25 to 30. And they said, we think a younger candidate should run to represent Harlem. We think that someone like David Paterson should run for that office. And he invites me down to his office and he says to me, it really doesn't matter whether you win or lose. He says, I lost 11 times before I was elected to the Assembly. He said, but you have to show people what your ability is. You have to showcase it, and you have to get into this process. And you can do a lot for people, but you're not going to do anything unless you make that effort, unless you give it an effort. And I said, well, thank you, Mr. Sutton, but you know, I have to go take the bar exam again, and I'm going to take the bar exam, and right after I pass it, I'll come back to you, and when I come back to you, then we can, you know, we can work on this thing that you want to work on. And he looked at me, and he had a kind of San Antonio twang, his accent, and he said, young man, by the time you're ready, the position will not be available. So I sat there, and all I could think to say to him is, could you give me a contribution, because I'm running for the state senate. again, let's give a round of applause to our governor.